Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday, December 28th. How's everybody doing? Coming up to New Year's Eve, which frankly I hate. I just think it's a totally overrated holiday, if you want to call it a holiday, event, whatever. You know, like all expected to do something really, really exciting, and it just, you know, I just think it's totally overrated. I don't know how you feel about it, but I just like staying home, chilling, and maybe watching the ball drop on TV. Even better, going to sleep early and waking up early, getting in a good workout and going for a run. Anyway, I want to talk to you guys about something because, and I've made several videos on this, and I've commented on it a lot. Because, you know, I always talk about these people who they are just myopically focused on the Fed and tunnel vision and print money, they're printing money, right? And, you know, for them, a lot of that focus is misplaced for a couple of reasons. First of all, monetary operations do not equate to money printing. They're simply asset swaps, okay, at the most basic understanding. I mean, you know, the Fed, when it engages, for example, in QE, it exchanges one type of a dollar, which is a reserve deposit, for another type of a dollar, which is usually a government security, a Treasury, which is a cash equivalent, okay? The other thing they get wrong is that most of these people look at the Fed's balance sheet. And the Fed's balance sheet is only relevant to the extent that it equates to a change in reserves in the banking system or other types of dollar assets in the banking system. The fact that the Fed's balance sheet moves up and down, if it moves up and down without any consequence to, you know, that money in the financial system, then it's irrelevant what the level of the Fed's balance sheet is. All right? Don't forget, alongside the Fed, you have the U.S. Treasury, the government, conducting operations which consist of spending, which is adding to reserve balances and then draining those reserves via debt sales. And it's not really debt, okay, it's just Treasury sales. It's another form of dollars, as I mentioned, so they're just swapping $1 for another. But to focus, and the reason why I bring this up is because, you know, I saw a Twitter post today where somebody was getting all excited about, you know, the Fed's balance sheet going up in the latest week and saying, you know, they're pumping, they're juicing. And it made me laugh because if that person really understood or followed the data, they would see that reserve balances in the banking system actually dropped by 168 billion. That was the biggest 1 week decline in, you know, money in 6 months. So, I mean, yeah, on the one hand, the Fed's balance sheet went up, but on the other hand, reserve balances were drained out of the system by the largest, you know, decline in 6 months, 168 billion in a week. Now, you might ask, how does that happen? Well, at the same time, don't forget, Treasury started to sell, you know, bonds again because Congress lifted the debt ceiling. So to focus on the Fed's balance sheet and to talk about that as if that's something without having knowledge or understanding of what potentially the impact on the you know, money in the system, if you want to call it that, I mean, that is an error. That is a lack of understanding. All right? But the other thing I want to point out is to all these people who are talking about, you know, whenever they see Fed operations like QE, and again, that's all they focus on. They don't really look at reserve balances. But even if they do, their contention is that when reserve balances go up, that's pumping and juicing, that's juicing the market up. They're pumping it up, they're juicing it up. So we had a week last week when you drained 168 billion from the system. You didn't really drain because at the same time it was replaced by treasuries, right? That goes to show you that there's no, these changes are irrelevant to the market. The market made a new all-time high under those conditions. Like, the only time you hear people talking about this are the people who really know nothing. They're misinformed, they're ignorant, and they see the Fed's balance sheet go up and they said they're pumping, they're juicing. Yet, what you really have to focus on, and actually you don't even have to focus on it at all, because like I said, it's completely irrelevant. I mean, if the Fed, if debt sales drain out, you had three things going on right now. You had the Fed's balance sheet go up. You had reserves drain down by 168 billion. Okay? And you had Treasury sales. So, okay, the reserves were swapped for Treasuries. Again, dollars. We're just talking about $168 billion in one form, switched for $168 billion in another form. So what I'm saying is, to focus on this stuff is completely ridiculous. This is like, I wish I could think of an analogy, but it's like, making a prediction based on a causation that does not exist. All right? Or making a prediction because you have seen some coincidence. Something coincidentally happened, and then from that coincidence, you draw some kind of a hard conclusion. All right? Like, I don't know, here's a dumb analogy. Like, back in the 19th century, barbers were doctors. And they thought, like, if a person gets sick, let's drain out their blood. The problem must be in their blood. Maybe once in a while, by coincidence, the person got better. And then they thought, oh, you see, this is a cure. This is what we have to do. But that was coincidental, and there's no connection. As a matter of fact, the connection is reverse. I mean, you drain out a person's blood, they're going to die. Yeah, you might kill the disease, but you kill the patient at the same time. You see what I'm saying? So, I don't know. It's just, again, another example of, if you have understanding, if you have knowledge, and if you have patience, there's a whole universe of opportunity to take advantage of in the form of people who don't know what they're talking about and who act on a belief as opposed to a real hard and deep understanding of what is going on. So it's really amazing. And I mean, these examples pop up every single day. Every single day. And don't think it's just coming from quacks and people who are, just kind of like on the fringe. It's not. I mean, a lot of this stuff is deeply embedded, like, in mainstream economics and the financial industry and the financial media. I remember a long time ago, when I used to work at Fox, and when I left Fox Business, Fox News, I interviewed at CNBC. And I don't know, this was maybe in 2011 or something like that. I interviewed at CNBC. I wanted to switch networks. And I went all the way to the top guy, the president, Mark Hoffman at CNBC. I had like 5 interviews that day, okay? Tyler Matheson. I had the woman who at the time was producing Mad Money for Kramer. I met with her. She liked me a lot. Tyler Matheson, he liked me a lot. Some other dude. And finally, I went to Mark Hoffman, and I was talking about, hey, let's do something different. Let's talk about, MMT. Let's talk about how the entire, mainstream economics, the financial media, they get everything wrong because they have the wrong understanding. And I was saying this to Mark Hoffman, the president, and you know what he said to me? He said, "Oh, we already do that." And I was like, in my head, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You guys are so backward and have it so wrong. It is unbelievable. Needless to say, I wasn't hired, but that's okay. I'm tired of arguing with fools and clowns anyway on TV. I got my channel right here, and I appreciate all of you who are subscribers and who follow me. Anyway, so that's what it means. And, whenever I see something like this, I'm going to try to point it out, and hopefully a lot of you, now I think a lot of you are getting educated on this, you're getting informed. I'm getting a lot of nice comments and emails saying how much you appreciate the educational stuff that I bring to you. So there you have it. And again, some of you have been contacting me on the individual subscription for MMT Trader. If you're interested, send me an email, mnorman@pitbulleconomics.com, and we'll talk about it. See you tomorrow. Bye.